wait a century.
So we're going to talk a little bit about vision, goals, strategies, tactics, and I think really the reason why we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this in this workshop is because I really think that this is kind of one of the critical things that is important, is the backbone of making any campaign successful. We need to be very clear with ourselves and with everybody about what we're setting out to do, and so that we can set up strategies that are appropriate for achieving those goals, and then tactics that actually fall into our strategies. So we're going to spend a little bit of time just talking about what each of these things are, and kind of there's lots of different levels of them, but we're going to then talk a little bit about the Think Outside the Bottle campaign, and I'm hoping that you all can help us brainstorm some tactics that we might be able to use in the coming months. So, just to start with, not everybody does this, but we kind of like to put vision above even goals, strategies, and tactics. So just to kind of throw this one out there, we're going to brainstorm which the other ones are, but I think for vision, just to kind of define it, because I don't think everybody thinks about this way when they do corporate campaigning. To me, the vision is the ideal. It's what you actually want to see. It's the procession for the future. It's what we just did today. It's putting forth the way that we actually want the world to look like. So we actually have one for our organization, which is to ensure global survival and to create a world that affirms life, a world where people can adequately meet their basic human needs for food, water, shelter, and good health, a world where opportunity exists for all people to reach their full human potential, a world where security is based on cooperation and community. So that's actually Corporate Accountability International's vision for the world. That's what all of our campaigns tie back to, that bigger vision. So let's hear from everybody about what you guys, how would you define a goal? When you talk about a goal for a campaign that you might have.
A goal or a vision?
Goal.
Action. I mean, a vision that becomes action, or a goal, it's a milestone maybe, or a benchmark, or something.
Yeah, like a deadline.
Yeah.
Definitive end.
A goal, something you want to accomplish.
Can anybody give an example of a goal they've worked toward in their activism or campaigning? Or they're working toward right now? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working with the sweat-free community, which is part of Global Exchange. And when I think about vision, about the sweat-free campaign, I think about a world in which people wouldn't even consider doing business with a company that didn't adhere to basic labor standards, environmental protections, and giving workers the right to freely associate and organize. And that's basically what the goal of the sweat-free campaign is to install purchasing policies with all public money, that they don't purchase from any factory that hasn't been verified as being not a sweatshop.
So they're the conditions that actually create your vision.
Yeah, but it's like a world view where nowadays people go, well, maybe it would be nice to buy from a company that had good labor standards. No, that it would be unthinkable that you would even communicate with a company that didn't have reasonable standards.
Mm-hmm. Good. What else? Yeah.
Global warming is getting to be really critical, and unless we reduce the greenhouse gases 80% by 2050, that's the goal, then we're going to reach a tipping point, and we're going to have runaway heating. And so one way to reach that 80% is by doing 5% per year, have every individual reduce their consumption 5% each year, and then ask other people to do the same.
So this is good. So goals are time bound, right? You can have a 20-year goal for a campaign. That's kind of pretty long term. You can have a 3-year goal, a 1-year goal, a 6-month goal. I set weekly goals for myself. Just what do I want to accomplish this week? Goals are very time dependent. That's good. Good. Just to kind of share a little bit about goals from the corporate accountability, or from their Think Outside the Bottle campaign. Our long-term goals for this campaign are to secure the human right to water and people's access to water, to build a public climate that supports public and democratic control of water, and to advance international legal instruments and policies to protect the human right to water, to improve people's access to water, and to prevent the corporate control of water. So those are some of those long-term, kind of bigger range strategies. We're not going to have legal instruments, unfortunately, anytime that soon, but that's what we're working toward. Let's talk about strategies a little bit. So what do people think are strategies? Well, how would you define strategy? This is your overall plan for, sorry, I can't write and talk sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard.
Your overall plan for achieving your goals, and then I forgot your name, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm Jay.
Jay brings up just a really great thing, which is that, strategy should be strategic, right? We want to make sure that we're being most effective toward reaching our goals. I think also there's this other kind of different levels of strategies. So, for example, you can kind of have grand strategies. Our organization has overall strategies that we pursue consistently across the board as an organization, and then each of our campaigns have strategies. So our overall organizational strategies, we have two. One is to organize large numbers of people to withdraw their support from a corporation in response to a particular abuse. And our secondary grand strategy is to empower regulatory bodies to essentially hold those changes that we've secured in check. So those two strategies, all of our campaign strategies actually ultimately link back to those grand strategies.
The house is good. The vision is you want to have a house to live in.
Exactly.
The goal is you want to build a house within a month. The strategy is that you're going to do it yourself, and the tactic is to bring out a hammer.
The tactic is that you're gonna hammer in 50 nails every day. That's a great example because I think within that there's a couple different tactics that we could pull out. So there's letter writing. So you could say one tactic is that we're going to generate 50 letters into this senator's office each week. We're going to run 2 phone banks a week, generating 50 calls each into the senator's offices. They're the actual actions that you take toward your goal, and they're in keeping with your strategies. Show up at their corporate shareholders meeting, and we did this last year at Coke. Outside the Coke shareholders meeting, we had a tap water challenge where we asked every shareholder who went into the meeting to taste Dasani, which is Coke's, versus Aquafina versus tap water to see if they could tell the difference. It was very fun. That's kind of how I usually think about it, categorizing it, and I think you're right to say we do categorize these tactics.